Hi, and welcome to Mumbrella Hangout from Cannes. This day we are joined by Adam Ferrier, who's Chief Strategy Officer from Cummins Partners. Adam, thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
So you've been in just a few hours so far, have you?
I have.
And how are you feeling?
I'm feeling better than you. I mean, you've apparently got some gastro.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with everyone. That's that's much appreciated, mate. We'll move swiftly on from that. You've got your own gastro experiences over Cannes.
Yeah, I do. So, like you, I was here a couple of years ago and I had gastro. I got it very badly, and I was speaking that year as well. And I had diarrhea, as you probably have at the moment. And so I had to find a way to speak and control my diarrhea. And so somebody suggested I get an adult nappy. And so I wore a nappy while presenting at Cannes. So this is quite different because I wasn't wearing the nappy.
How did that compare?
Well,
Was it better?
Yeah, it's more of a refined experience not wearing a nappy. You know what I mean? You feel more sophisticated.
Did you feel more like David Droga this year than
Yeah,
before?
that's right. Exactly.
I can't imagine he's had too many presentations wearing adult nappies.
Well, you know stuff about David. I don't, obviously.
Well, obviously, yeah. Let's push the tone on a little bit.
Yeah.
So, give us a bit of a chat about what you were speaking about today, and what was the context?
The context was around the training of creatives in creative agencies, and in particular, I was speaking about the new worlds of behavioural economics, of data and technology, and how it's difficult to know when to bother to inject those into the creative process. But they all feel like they should add value, but until they do add value, what do we do with these kind of new schools of thought?
And I think there were more creatives in the room than maybe you thought there would be today. Was
Yeah.
that a good sign? Was that a good thing?
I think it was a great thing because so many creatives are coming to see how creatives should be trained. My assumption was no creatives would give a shit because they're quite happy with the status quo because they get to come up with ideas and have the creativity and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes in previous lives, I felt that creatives were actually a little bit reluctant to embrace different types of schools of thought. But no, it was great. It was good to see them all there.
And so, obviously you're speaking about getting this kind of thinking more involved, and obviously that's something you're doing at Cummins Partners now. But how do other agencies do that? Because it's not like there are hundreds of behavioural economists out there running around looking to get into the advertising industry.
I think there are. I think there's loads of people who understand behavioural economics, loads of people who understand, if not that, behavioural sciences. There's lots of psychologists, there's lots of economists, there's lots of people who understand various aspects of it. I think the industry as a whole embraces the idea of using behavioural sciences as a broad term. It's just a case of trying to find out a way to make it add value to your particular agency and your agency's processes. Agencies have very deep ruts of how they do things, There's an account management team who speak to the client. They either write the brief or give the brief to the planner. They do this. So it's all very kind of deep structures. It's quite hard for some agencies to unbundle that stuff.
And so it's a question of actually looking at the root and branch of your agency rather than just bringing someone in on top.
Yeah, and it's difficult to develop. I think the current system actually works quite well. So it's difficult to change it enough. If you're going to introduce a new way of thinking, that new way of thinking has to add value beyond what you're currently doing.
Yeah, it was an interesting session because you were talking just after another guy who you got up and said basically you fundamentally disagree with everything he'd said. What was he actually trying to sort of expose there?
Well, what I think he was saying was the current model of creativity is just bouncing around ideas until you get something that feels quite right, and that's the creative process. And that's what I have an issue with. Like, we can bounce around. We don't have time to bounce ideas around until we get stuff right. We need to get the sandpit we're playing in tighter so that we know we're in the right direction when we're trying to develop ideas. That's what I was trying to do.
So you've been to Cannes before, obviously. How are you finding it this year? Obviously, you've only been here a few hours. What have you caught so far?
Well, I've had no gastro, so I've enjoyed it much better. Saw a really interesting presentation on the emerging creative forces in India and how creativity is changing its tone of voice in India. It used to be much more aspirational. It's now much more reality-based. I found that interesting. Went to a workshop on how to run a workshop and got a few ideas, which is great. So yeah, I think it's the content here. The curation of the content is great. I love it.
I guess they've got a lot of people sticking their hands up to do things for them. So
Yeah, that's
nice position to be in.
Yeah.
And Can comes in for quite a lot of criticism, around speakers and so on. Do you think it's still the place to go for creativity in the industry?
Oh yeah, I do. I would pick this place anywhere. I still haven't been to South by Southwest, but I mean I think that's where the hipsters go, the cool people go. That's where CJ goes. But I prefer going to Cannes. I really I find it very inspiring.
So, and is that just because it's in the south of France and you get to drink copious amounts of rosé?
I don't like the south of France. I find the whole place a little bit. Actually, that's going to sound horrible because I don't like it. It's not for the south of France.
Not for the south of France. Okay, that's good to know.
I don't like the sun.
Fair enough. Despite your tan. We've had a few shortlisted already. The last one we've just put up live is the Creative Effectiveness Shortlist. There's 12 agencies on that, and 4 of those are Australian. What is that saying about the state of Australian agencies and creativity?
It says we can write a fantastic entry. And I think, the work on there is great. It's fantastic to see Dumb Ways to Die get up there, because I know in Australia it only got a bronze Effie and everyone was outraged and all that kind of stuff, but I just really hope that wins. And I think it's fantastic for Australian agencies to be have a third of them. It's great.
Yeah, I think under the rules, the way it is, the Dumb Ways to Die can't win because charity or public service broadcasts aren't allowed to win the Grand Prix, but they can still win a Lion. They're still in with that. They're still in with that chance. And what are you up to tonight? What's your plans?
I'm meeting Ian at 6 p.m. to have a drink.
That's Ian Perrin.
Might be.
Fair enough. Are you catching any of the World Cup games?
If they happen to be on whilst I'm doing what else I'm doing, then I'll look at them. But I won't go out of my way one bit to do it.
Fair enough. What are your top sort of tips for contenders for Cannes this year in terms of global content and global campaigns? What do you think is going to pick up?
Oh, I haven't thought about it. Can we not show this bit? I really haven't. My mind isn't. I
haven't been following other agencies and so on.
No,
that's fair enough. And so that's to come on to Cummins and Partners now as well. You've been there, 6 months now, just over?
Yep.
How are you settling in?
Loving it. Fantastic. Went over, it's really good. I'm enjoying it. We've got Jim and Cuz over from Cummins to BBDO, so they're the ECDs. They've been shaking things up, been doing a fantastic job. Team's really good. We've produced some really cool work, which I'm very proud of, for CGU and also for ADMA. We've got other stuff coming out shortly, which is exciting. Nice culture, nice vibe. It's good having creative and media back together. And so we've got a in-house media department, and we've got creative, and we also make stuff, so it makes the whole thing more fun.
Yeah, I should come back to that ADMA work just for a second. You showed that earlier, and that got quite a good reaction. So for anyone who's not aware, that's for ADMA's Creative Conference, which is coming up at the end of July.
Yeah, Creative Fuel.
Creative Fuel, that's the one. And it's just basically a piss take around, agencies trying to do too much and trying to be too innovative and too cutting edge. That's obviously something you guys feel is a real issue within the industry.
Oh, totally.
Do you think it struck a chord today as well?
Yeah, I think it struck a chord. I mean, judging from the reaction, it struck a chord. But I think the reason why it does is because there's a truth in it. And we all kind of sometimes just get tempted to just want to do the latest cool thing because it's the latest cool thing. And it's seductive. And so that's why I think the video kind of works. And that's why people are kind of paying attention to it.
Yeah. And you guys just opened up in, obviously, New York, and you're looking for clients there at the moment. Have you picked anyone up yet?
You'd have to ask Sean.
Sure. And is there any other sort of expansion plans at the moment? Anything being looked at?
Look, we're an independent agency. We're in control of our own destiny, so we're always constantly looking at new opportunities wherever they may be.
Yeah. And would that be New Zealand or Asia or Europe?
Yep.
Any of those?
It would.
Would you be more specific?
No. Sorry, it's like no. But it's great. It's unreal. We can. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, look, Adam, thanks very much for joining us today.
Cool.
We'll be doing these hangouts throughout the week with sort of several people from the industry, so hope you enjoy them. Cheers.
Thanks, man.